of St. Kitts and Nevis.
From the VON Newsline, this is the VON Major Newscast.
Good evening. I am Danielle Moore in with your VON Major News package for today, Monday, July 1st, 2019. In our lead stories nationally, Nevis Fire and Nivision-born financial consultant to host financial seminar, and Nevis Fire and Rescue Services to set to host summer safety program. Regionally, a report recommends that the UN adopt additional assistance measures for cholera victims in Haiti. Internationally, Hong Kong police evict protesters who stormed Parliament. And in sports, West Indies denied by Sri Lanka in a record run chase bid. We'll have the details to these and other stories after this message.
Another look.
Different from how you've seen it before.
Another look.
Takes an in-depth look into business, politics, science, technology, religion, and more.
Another look.
Featuring documentaries from the BBC, regional features, and local ones too.
Another look.
Every Monday at 3 p.m. on the Eastern Caribbean's powerhouse, VON.
Welcome back, and now for the national news. A seminar which will focus on how to multiply money in the financial markets will be held on Tuesday, July 2nd at 7 p.m. at the Red Cross Building on Chapel Street in Charlestown. The seminar will be hosted by Nivision-born financial consultant and presenter, Mr. Curtis James. Mr. James, who lives in Antigua, said that he decided to come back home to educate Nivisions on how to earn money by trading.
I've decided to do something whereby Nivisions can learn how to earn money in the financial markets by learning how to trade. I myself am a financial consultant. I live in Antigua at the present moment, and I have a small business doing bookkeeping, accounting, business plans for small businesses. But I've recently begun to learn the skill of trading and how you can trade in the financial markets to earn an additional income. And I think it's very fascinating, and that is why I'm going to be doing a presentation whereby I will be exposing the people of Nevis to the concept of learning how to trade in the financial markets to earn money.
The VON Newsline spoke with Mr. James, who explained the objective of the seminar.
Exposure to Nivisions, let Nevis be exposed to the financial world. I'm pretty sure some persons might be knowledgeable already, but others might not be. And this is not a session whereby you have to be knowledgeable of the financial markets. I will be saying things to you that you probably have not heard and have not thought about. Not only about trading and the financial markets, but your whole financial situation as it is. Now, some of us, we think we are pretty comfortable with our standard of living, but there are possibilities that you can become more comfortable financially if you are able to learn this skill of trading and put it to use for you to earn money.
Mr. Curtis James. The St. Kitts and Nevis Fire and Rescue Services, or SKNFRS, Nivision Division, is gearing up to hold its annual summer safety program. The program, which is in its 15th edition, this year, being held under the theme, Building for a Safer Tomorrow by Preparing Our Children for Today. The event will run from July 8th to July 12th, 2019. The 5-day program targets children between the ages of 5 to 12 years and will be held at the Jessops Community Center from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. Fire Substation Officer at the Vance Amory International Airport and coordinator of the program, Mrs. Mavis White Archibald, in an interview with the VON Newsline, indicated that the program has been impactful since its inception.
We do our fire data quarterly, and it shows that there has not been any fire related to children. If we go back, you will find that, let me use one child in particular. I remember asking my daughter, she has been one of the first person on the first program in Nevis, and about a year after I asked her to, in my rush, light the stove for me and put the kettle on, and she said, "Mommy, no, you said do not light the fire." And it's because she would have learned something then, and I would have picked it up from a number of children too, who decided no, they can't do that.
The program, which is geared towards imparting safety tips and practices to children, will this year focus on 6 safety areas.
We have fire safety would be predominantly illicit lighting of fires. We also have persons from violence and crime units. They will be teaching that aspect of it. We have traffic. We will teach traffic safety. We also have persons from Coast Guard who will be teaching about water safety. We have somebody else now come on board recently from environmental health, and they would be speaking a lot on personal hygiene, because that too poses risk. And then we have a representative also from disaster management, and they will be teaching about hurricane, earthquake, and stuff like.
Mrs. Mavis White Archibald. In related news, each year at the conclusion of the summer safety program, the fire officials select a junior fire chief and a deputy fire chief. Coordinator of the program, Mrs. Mavis White Archibald, explains how a participant will be selected for one of these positions.
It's based on classroom. The person who would have grasped the information and who is more participating in everything, that is how we base the selection. And that is basically the criteria, involvement.
Last year's junior fire chief was Siobhan Chibo Paris of Bath Village. Meanwhile, the division is also seeking the assistance of various business establishments to support the program. This, they noted, would enable the department to increase the number of children they can accommodate for the program each year.
I think more business places should come on board and sponsor the summer safety program, so we can accommodate more children to the summer program instead of cutting off at a certain point, because we only could accommodate for 100, 110. So I think more people should come on board and support, contribute, sponsor. You just give whatever they can just to make it bigger.
Fire officer at the Vance Amory International Airport, Mr. Clement Hodge. The sub-regional coordinator for the Caribbean of the Food Agricultural Organization, or FAO, of the United Nations, Dr. Renetta Clark, paid her inaugural visit to the Federation on Tuesday, June 25, 2019, and presented her credential to the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Aviation, the Honorable Mark Brantley. Mr. Brantley welcomed Dr. Clark to the Federation, noting that St. Kitts and Nevis looks forward to strengthening its relationship with the FAO as the government works towards overcoming the challenges faced by the agricultural sector. He further noted that some of the key challenges include building resilience to drought, reducing the food import bill inter alia. Dr. Clark expressed her delight to work with the government and the people of St. Kitts and Nevis to achieve results in the area of agriculture and food safety and security. During her 3-day visit to the Federation, Dr. Clark held meetings with the Minister of Agriculture, the Honorable Eugene Hamilton, and a large number of officials from the various divisions of the ministry and the Department of Agriculture. St. Kitts and Nevis started its participation in the 43rd session of the World Heritage Committee in Baku, Azerbaijan. The representatives of the Federation were General Manager of the Brimstone Hill Fortress National Park and official representative of the Federation to the committee, Mr. Percival Handley, and Ambassador of St. Kitts and Nevis to UNESCO, Dr. David Doyle. The representatives of SKN urged for more attention and resources to be deployed to boost the institutional capacity of Small Island Developing States, or SIDS, in identifying and preparing heritage sites for the ultimate inscription on the UNESCO World Heritage List. Ambassador Doyle stated that a remarkably small percentage of these states are located in SIDS, covering jurisdictions in the Caribbean, Indian, and Pacific regions. The Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis was elected to the World Heritage Committee in November 2017 for a period of 4 years and will be the only small island developing state on the committee when Cuba stands down after the Baku session. Prime Minister Dr. The Honorable Timothy Harris will host his monthly press conference in the Parliamentary Lounge at the Government Headquarters, St. Kitts, on Tuesday, July 2nd from 10:30 a.m. The Prime Minister will once more update citizens and residents of St. Kitts and Nevis on matters of national interest. Members of the press will also be present and be afforded the opportunity to ask questions for the benefit of the listening and viewing public. The Prime Minister's monthly press conference will be carried live here on VOD Radio, 860 AM. St. Kitts and Nevis is one of 5 Caribbean countries and territories which have been recognized for their early achievement of an ambitious marine project protection target. The 5 are among countries in the region which committed the marine protection target when they joined the Caribbean Challenge Initiative, or CCI. St. Kitts and Nevis placed second on the list, with the Dominican Republic copying the top spot of early achievers, with approximately 75% of its marine area under protection. The Federation has so far put 50% of its marine area under protection. The other 3 are the U.S. Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, and Haiti. The CCI 20 by 20 conservation goal challenges members to conserve and manage at least 20% of their marine and coastal environment by 2020. The Caribbean Challenge Initiative is described as an innovative platform uniting the government, the private sector, and other partners, including funding agencies and NGOs, in a collaborative movement to conserve and sustainably manage the Caribbean marine and coastal environments. The CCI, launched in 2008, aims to incentivize Caribbean governments to meet their marine conservation objectives. The government of the Republic of China Taiwan, through its embassy in Basse-Terre, has made a financial contribution towards the Old Road Bay Road Rehabilitation Project, which will result in significantly enhancing safety and security for road users along the 1.2-kilometer stretch of road. Resident Ambassador to St. Kitts and Nevis, His Excellency Tom Lee, presented the check on behalf of his government to the government of St. Kitts and Nevis during a brief ceremony held at the Office of the Prime Minister on Tuesday, June 25th. The ceremony was attended by Prime Minister Dr. The Honorable Timothy Harris, Minister responsible for public infrastructure, and the Honorable Ian Patches-Liberd, Inter Laos. Ambassador Lee, in presenting the check, indicated that he has traversed along the Old Road Bay Road on many occasions, and as such, understands the urgent need for completing this important project. The Old Road Bay Road is being extended on reclaimed land and will be approximately 24 feet apart from the existing road and be elevated about 15 feet above the current road level. The seaside protection will include strong rocks, armoring similar to the protection at Port Zante. The construction work is being carried out by local company Rock and Dirt Construction Limited. And finally, efforts to raise awareness of the St. Kitts and Nevis Federal Youth Policy of 2017 to 2022 among stakeholders and strengthening its effectiveness were explored at a 3-day workshop held from June 24th to the 26th, 2019 at the St. Kitts Marriott Resort. The capacity building workshop on youth development and youth policy implementation training was organized by the Department of Youth, or DYE, with support from the Commonwealth Secretariat. The workshop was designed to build on participants' current understanding of youth work and develop the capacity of the individuals as well as their respective organizations. More than 30 participants, including staff from the DYE, Ministry of Education, Department of Community Affairs, and the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force, or RSCNPF, along with representatives of youth groups, faith-based institutions, sporting associations, and others, attended. The sessions were mainly facilitated by Lane Robinson, Head of the Social Policy Development, and Stephen Soa, Assistant Program Officer at the Commonwealth Secretariat. A similar session will be held in Nevis on October 2019. That is your national news segment. You can visit our website at www.vaughanradio.com or our Facebook page at Vaughan Radio or our Vaughan Radio YouTube channel for these and other stories. News from across the region is next.
Ladies and gentlemen, this here's another one for the steppers.
Swipe to win big in 2019. That's right, the Bank of Nevis Limited is once again giving you, our valued customers, a chance to win big. Just swipe or use your Bond Visa credit card for US $100 for a chance to win a cruise for two, an iPhone XS, or a grocery dash at Best Buy Supermarket.
Say what?
Sign up for a Bond Visa credit card and automatically be entered for a chance to win. This offer ends August 31st, 2019. So tell your friends and family, just swipe to win big with the Bank of Nevis. The Bank of Nevis Limited, improving the quality of life. Like us on Facebook or follow us on Instagram.
Welcome back, and now for the regional news. Lawyers Without Borders Canada, or LWBC, in collaboration with the Inter-University Institute for Research and Development, or INURED, recently made public a study on assistance to cholera victims in Haiti. The epidemic, which had devastating health, social and economic consequence in the country following the 2010 earthquake, has so far killed nearly 10,000 people, while more than 820,000 people have been infected. In apologizing for the UN's role in the cholera epidemic, it is spread in Haiti, Secretary General Ban Ki-moon unveiled the United Nations approach to cholera in Haiti 2016. In a report, he highlighted the importance of conducting local consultations and further assessments to determine whether the material and financial assistance program for cholera victims could include an individual component, such as monetary payment to cholera victims. 3 years later, the United Nations initiated a community assistance program, but additional consultations and assessments for a possible individual case assistance program were not carried out. Out of Jamaica, 5 CARICOM states make up a select list from the World Food Program, or WFP, to serve as a model for the Caribbean in disaster response coordination includes Belize, Dominica, Guyana, St. Lucia, and Jamaica. The announcement was made by Regis Chapman, head of the WFP's Barbados-based Emergency Preparedness and Response Program Office for the Caribbean, addressing shock-responsive social protection at the regional symposium in Providenciales, Turks and Caicos Islands on June 27th. Chapman said that the WFP, along with the international development consulting firm Oxford Policy Management, is developing 5 case studies in the Caribbean region as part of her efforts to build evidence of a shock-responsive social protection in the Caribbean. Speaking with JIS News, Chapman explained that the countries were selected based on their level of linking social protection with disaster management, adding that Jamaica is one of the more unique cases because of the history of the linking social protection with humanitarian assistance. We actually chose Jamaica to serve as a model, particularly in the areas around coordination. Also out of Jamaica, the House of Representatives has passed the Tourism Workers' Pension Bill, which seeks to establish a defined contribution pension scheme for hospitality industry workers. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett said the scheme will be the largest single pension plan in Jamaica and, arguably, the Caribbean, and a landmark development for the country's workforce. The minister said the government is excited about the prospect of Jamaica offering to the world a model of social security for the workers of the tourism industry. He further noted that it represents the administration's commitment to social market arrangement, which aims to ensure that the appropriate legislation and regulations are developed to protect the vulnerable. Bartlett argued that the bill, and by extension the scheme, is coming at a time when the sector is experiencing unprecedented growth. The legislation will come into effect by an appointed day notice made by the minister and published by the Gazette. That's it for our regional news. The international news comes up next. Welcome back, and now for the international news. Police firing tear gas have moved in to evict protesters who earlier stormed and ransacked Hong Kong's parliament. Activists had occupied the Legislative Council, or LegCo, buildings for hours after breaking away from a protest on the anniversary of Hong Kong's transfer of the sovereignty to China from Britain. At midnight, hundreds of police charged towards the building after warning protesters to clear it. In the following weeks of unrest in the city over controversial extradition law.
The police could have dispersed the demonstrators much earlier when they were trying to storm the electrical building. They purposefully allowed the demonstrator to break into this building, to vandalize it. And I think this is a trap in that they want this type of scene to be seen by the public. By doing so, they would earn back some of the public support, which has been overwhelmingly siding with the demonstrators.
6 Turkish sailors detained in Libya by Khalifa Haftar's forces have been released, Turkey's foreign ministry has said, a day after Turkey has warned Libyan National Army, or LNA militia, would become a legitimate target unless the men were released immediately. 6 men appear to have been captured by the LNA as reprisal for Haftar losing control of a key town that has set back his efforts to capture Libya's capital, Tripoli, from the UN-recognized Government of National Accord, or GNA. The BBC's Sebastian Usher reports.
The 6 Turkish sailors were detained over the weekend by forces fighting for General Khalifa Haftar, who launched an attack on Tripoli to try to topple the internationally recognized government several months ago. The move appears to be motivated by Turkish support for the government, whose remit does not in reality extend far in Libya. General Haftar and his allies in eastern Libya issued a threat against Turkish ships and planes last week, accusing Ankara of using them to ferry arms in to support the administration in Tripoli. Turkey responded angrily to the detention of its nationals, warning that it might directly attack General Haftar's forces if they weren't released.
Iran has breached the limit on its stockpile of enriched uranium set under a 2015 nuclear deal with world powers, the global watchdog has confirmed. The International Atomic Energy Agency said its inspectors had verified 300 kilograms, or 660-pound cap, has been exceeded. Iran stepped up production of enriched uranium, which was used to make reactor fuel and potentially nuclear weapons, in response to reinstated U.S. sanctions. The BBC's Paul Adam reports.
Under the terms of the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, or JCPOA, Iran has the right to stockpile up to 300 kilograms of low-enriched uranium. That limit has now been exceeded. Angered by Donald Trump's decision to walk away from the deal a year ago in favor of tough new sanctions, Iran said it would exceed the limit by last Thursday, so today's news comes as little surprise. It's a modest and reversible step, but it's another setback for the deal's European sponsors, who are trying desperately to keep it alive.
That's it for the international news. Sports is up next.
TDC Business Center and City Drugstore Nevis, your one-stop shop for all your school supply needs. Get bundle savings on backpack and computer packages, but save 20% off all back-to-school materials and printers. Back-to-school shopping is made easy at TDC Business Center and City Drugstore Nevis. See stores for details.
Welcome back, and now on to sports. In cricket, West Indies fell 23 runs short of a record World Cup run chase, despite a magnificent 180 from Nicholas Pooran against Sri Lanka at Chesterla Street. Set 339 after a maiden century from Sri Lanka, Avishka Fernando, the West Indies were 84 for 4 in the 18th over. Pooran played some swashbuckling shots, ably supported by Fabian Allen, 51. Yet, with 31 needed from the last 3 overs, Pooran was caught behind as West Indies closed on 315 for 9. Lasith Malinga claimed 3 for 55. Both teams began the match knowing they could not qualify for the semi-finals, but produced a classic encounter. On Friday, June 28th, Elizabeth Pemberton Primary, or EPPS, beat Ivor Walters Primary, or IWPS, by 7 wickets. The scores are Ivor Walters 69 all out in 14.3 overs, Light Brown 14, Omari Jones 15, bowling for EPPS, Chadil Mills 4 for 20, and Kian Sadler 2 for 12. EPPS in reply 70 for 3, Najee Hobson 36, and Brad Gorge 10 not out. And Joycelyn Liebert Primary won over Charlestown Primary by 4 wickets. The scores are CPS 50 all out in 10.2 overs, Jack Leake Tyson 16, and Tessan Newton 12. Bowling for JLPS, Carlton Ferdinand 5 for 15, and Carlton Puck 2 for 23. JLPS in reply 52 for 6 of 11.3 overs. Carlton Puck 18, bowling for CPS, Mikey Silogam 2 for 16. And finally, in football, the Jamaica advanced to the semifinals of the 2019 CONCACAF Gold Cup following their 1-10 win over Panama on Sunday. Darren Mattox scored from the penalty spot in the 75th minute after Michael Murillo was called for a handball from a free kick by Lennon Bailey. The win has booked Jamaica a place in Wednesday's semifinals for the 3rd consecutive tournament, having been beaten finalists in 2015 and 2017. That's it for sports. The latest weather report is up next. The weather tonight, partly cloudy. The weather tomorrow, partly sunny with a 10% or slight chance of showers. Winds east at 11 to 26 kilometers per hour or 6 to 14 knots. Seas 1 to 1.5 meters or 3 to 5 feet. Sunrise tomorrow, 5:40 a.m. Sunset tomorrow, 6:49 a.m. And that's how we wrap up the major news package for today, Monday, July 1st, 2019. Before we go, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Nationally, Navision-born financial consultant to host a financial seminar. And Nevis Fire and Rescue Services set to host a summer safety program. Regionally, a report recommends the UN adopt additional assistance for measures under the cholera victims in Haiti. Internationally, Hong Kong police evict protesters who stormed Parliament. And in sports, West Indies denied by Sri Lanka in a record run chase bid. On behalf of the rest of the news team, I am Danielle Moore, wishing you a pleasant evening.